We good.
Yo, yo, yo. We are not live at the launching pad, but we are live at J. Cole's Resource Center. And we got the owner of the building. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
What's going on, Tip?
Nothing much. Nothing much. So, to let everybody know,
Mm-hmm.
it's Jacob.
Jocko. Okay,
Jacob. A
I'm
lot of
sorry.
people say
Excuse
Jacob,
me.
but
Pardon,
it's
sir.
are you good? It's Jacob's Life Coaching and Resource Center, but all is well.
Okay, how was your day?
It was an interesting day.
I
I would
know
say
you
that.
are a woman of many hats, and I know. Just take us on a day, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
No, I don't. So usually my day starts around 8ish,
Mm,
because I go to my 9 to 5.
okay.
So what I do at my 9 to 5 is I assist and help students with their resumes, cover letters, interview skills. I work at a career-based college, so basically just getting them ready, professional
Which
development.
college is this?
Helms College.
Helms College, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to get into Helms. I wanted to do the whole culinary arts thing, but that's another story.
Okay.
But speaking of stories, my fans know how I like to start this thing off. Where you from?
So citywide or side of town?
Citywide, side of town, all of the above.
Okay. So I am born and raised in Macon, Georgia,
Mhm.
and I am from the west side of town.
Okay, okay. How was your upbringing? Like, what was the West Side for you growing up?
I had a good upbringing. Like I really had women around me that encouraged me, that complimented me, reassured me, gave me positive feedback on a lot of things, the way I looked, how they wanted me to conduct myself, informed me that I was intelligent. I got fed with positive feedback. And as far as side of town where I was from, I mean, back then we were the generation of kickball. Like I was
So
born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, so
was
it was
the
different.
was the neighborhood together? Was it ghetto? Was it what was the West Side known for? Because I'm from New York,
You're
so I
from
don't
New
really
York?
know, how Macon was back
Yeah,
then.
yeah. So just really keeping the book. So, okay, before my mama moved to Bloomfield, right,
Okay.
we stayed on a street called Hugueny Avenue, which is like an intersection between like Duncan Avenue sit behind us.
Mm-hmm.
It was Hugueny Avenue, like an alley, and then Beach Avenue.
Gotcha.
So like my mom's apartment was right here,
In
and
the
then
middle.
my grandma's house was right here on Beach, and then Duncan Avenue was behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, back then, and Duncan was always kind of like that. I guess you could say the area where it was considered to be hood. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people came from Duncan, and people might know, but to me back then, they were playmates.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
these people I went to school with, people
But
I
one thing
played
I
with.
know about the hood is gonna stick together no matter what hood you go
It
to.
was
All of
cohesive.
it. Right.
It
Right.
was it was a cohesive hood. I think that. I mean, just like any other place, we had situations,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, where people might not get along, and that may have resulted in death or led to it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that it was cohesive.
But
I think.
you grew like the rose in the concrete, and you made it out. And
Yeah,
you did go to an HBCU, correct?
absolutely. Yeah, and
Which one was that?
even before then, before I even got to Fort Valley, I just like a lot of people. I think a lot of people just really probably knew me when I was living when I was in Bloomfield.
Mm-hmm.
But when me and my mom stayed on Hugueny, like we had the smallest two-bedroom apartment, two bedroom, one bath, because it was just her and I. And then when she met my stepdad, we got a bigger apartment out in Bloomfield. But that was the smallest. My mom didn't have a car, so I used to ride. We used to ride the city bus. That was like the best thing to me. I used to love to walk down the street, get on the city bus, we go to the mall. Cause it took her a while before she started driving, but I
What
never
did the
forget
what
that
did
though.
the because I'm from the city and I used to love riding the bus too. I still get on the bus, but
Yeah.
what was that experience for you like? Just
So
seeing something different.
yeah, like as a little girl, I don't think I didn't understand like like now to be a grown woman without a car, that's an issue.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Is it?
In 2022 it is
Is
because
it just in Georgia or is it in all around the world? Because
I
I
think,
know.
I think everywhere, because we're in a commercial society. So everything now is about bling, everything now is about how much money
What
you
about New York where you can't park?
get. See, with New
Spots
York
like
may
that.
be different.
Atlanta.
But I do feel like New York is real fashionable, real superficial too. And it ain't, so they probably choose not to travel by car, but nobody wants to admit they don't have a car, especially as a grown woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so I didn't, like, back then as a child, that wasn't important to me because my mom took me, I'm an only child, so me and her with everybody else. She read to me all the time, you know, so that part I think influenced my upbringing because then my aunt was military. One of my aunts from real close to me, so she was real big on like reading, being educated, and just a certain way how I need to conduct myself.
Right.
You know, being respected, but also being loved. And so, all of that stuff carried with me. Stuff my grandma taught me that carried with me. So when it was time for me to go to school, I went to Winship Elementary School. I went to Miller Middle School. I went to Central High School. And then from there, I went to Gordon College in Barnesville. I did 2 years at Gordon. I loved it. I still have friends from there. And I loved, after I did my 2 years, then I went to Fort Valley State University.
Gotcha.
So that is my HBCU.
So what was that like? What was that?
I love Fort Valley. I love Fort Valley,
Did
man.
was it, because I've talked, the only HBCU that I've talked to people with is like Howard, and they talk about it like Sukanda, and was that same type of feel at Fort Valley?
So it's, I guess so, because I can't really compare it to, like, had I went to another HBCU and transferred, then I might have could compare it, but because I came from PWI to Fort Valley, then I guess it was a different type of
Well,
experience.
let me say this, was it like real cultural, or was it just black, or was it like?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because I remember a friend and I kind of got into it about it. Like, when I hear people say, oh, okay, well, no, I would rather go to the PWI because I need to get diversity. I want diversity. If I go to HBCU, I'm not going to have diversity. I think that's, you know, that could be kind of ignorance on our part, because we only see a HBCU as being black, but black is diverse. For one, my teachers were from Ghana.
Right.
I had a professor from Ghana. I had a professor that was from Jordan, Egypt. I had a professor that was from Korea.
Right.
You know, so we forget about how
And they all had different perspectives.
right, but they also had African American in them or black.
Right,
you
right,
know,
right,
because
right.
whether they from the Dominican or whether they was from like
That
different
one
part,
tribe.
right, Haiti.
Right.
Like, we think of black as just being one color when you got so many different types of black.
Right.
So that's diversity. To me, it's not, diversity isn't
That
black
was
and
the
white.
question that I was gonna get to later,
Yeah.
but since we had now, how do you feel about the word culture? Like, when you hear that word, what comes to mind?
I don't know, cause we don't work culture out so bad. I don't know, like,
Right, it's
first thing come to my mind is Cardi B daughter. You know, like when I like just all talk when I hear culture, I think about her little girl. But I think we instantly think about race, ethnicity, neighborhoods. I think about music, rap music. I think about fashion. I think about all the things that our culture influence.
Right.
Because I feel like we influence everything.
The first thing that comes to my mind is family, right? Because to me, that's where it all came from. Even like you were saying with your grandmother and everything. So that was the family vibe. And like me and Derek was having a conversation earlier, and I was like, where they beat us at is camaraderie. They have camaraderie. I don't care what they're doing, not just them, just all cultures other than ours, right? That camaraderie is not there with us. Like, you see it with things that you do. You know, for you to be from here, and the people that you know, you should be getting us way more support. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Anybody. But it's just with us, we don't have that camaraderie. We don't have that brotherhood, that sisterhood. Like, go ahead, sister. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna help you out. We don't see that amongst ourselves. How do you feel about that?
I guess I try to understand more or less like why do we feel that way? Like why do we feel like if I get something and I'm good at it, why I gotta hold it to myself? Why do we feel that way? Like, do we feel that it's gonna be taken from us? Do we feel that I worked so hard for it, I don't wanna share it? Like, I try to understand why we may respond in a way because everything to me that we do is generational.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
And as the generation goes, it's getting weaker instead of stronger. It's not progressing. Like we should be more together than the divided we are.
we're progressing. We're progressing. You know, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure you know because you studied, but one of the things that those are the great things about going to HBCU. But the African American race is the most studied race than any other race in the world. Whether they're going to Egypt, wherever they at, they have studied our race because not Asians, not Italians, not Koreans, but they study black people all the time. It's a reason for that. I think once we learn the reason and really understand it, then we'll know why it's a reason that they constantly read about us. It's a reason why it's a lot of stuff that has been taken from us, you know, or hidden. We're the only culture of people that can't go back to our country. Like,
Right.
I meet some Italians, they still got people in Italy. We
We're,
go to the nail shop, they still got people in Korea, but I can't name a family member in Africa that I can call right now and say, hey girl, what's going on? We're the only race of people where we got robbed of that.
disconnect.
So to answer your question, I think until we kind of understand that more, then we can get that camaraderie that you're talking about.
Right.
We gotta understand why we're generationally built the way we are. Cause it's like a movie. It's like our memory got erased. Like everything that we supposed to know about ourselves, like think about it. We got, what's that movie? Born Supremacy. Like where everything was erased from his mind. And the only thing we know is what they hand us in the book. And that ain't even 10% of our history.
That's why I salute sisters like yourself who go above and beyond to push the culture. And you know, let's talk about PCM.
Okay.
How did that come about? Like because in your conversation I haven't heard music. So it's like
Right.
where did that come in at?
You know, because I'm not musically inclined at all. I can play the clarinet, but I don't have any like vocals. You know, it's hard to explain. I was asked by Chris. I like to say I was recruited. Chris recruited me to be his manager after my birthday party in 2020 that y'all DJ'd.
Okay.
Like that's where it started from.
Wow.
Derek performed, y'all were DJing that day.
How
Yeah.
how is the journey?
Oh, it's been good. It's been good, man. Like, I have met more people through management. Like, in the last 2 years, I've met people that I know I would not have known or been
Now,
connected to.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. What did you go to school for? What did you go to college for?
So, my undergrad, my first degree, my bachelor's degree is in business management.
Right.
My master's degree is in mental health counseling.
Okay. Okay. So that you have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, because I provide that culture.
With the with the managing, being that you're not musically inclined, do you feel like you have an advantage, or you feel like you at a disadvantage dealing with people that's so
Talented in music.
right?
Yeah. I don't feel at a disadvantage because I don't really think any managers can sing. Really. I've never, and you don't even know people's managers. Like when you think about some of your favorite rappers, like who their managers, you don't know them. And that's how it's supposed to be. So I don't really think I'm at a disadvantage. I think I'm at an advantage because of the fact that I've always been business minded and I'm business savvy. I may not know a whole lot about entertainment, but I know when something is, I know business, right? And I know structure.
Right.
I know strategy. I know organization. And I think those are all the things that you need to manage yourself and anybody else. So I think that's
So
what
I'm an
put me at that
artist.
advantage.
I'm an artist. I want to get on the PCM. What is something that you would recommend to me starting out?
Starting out, or like what I would look at.
Like I haven't even made it to the studios yet. I'm just, I know I like the rap.
Yeah.
I know I have a passion for it. What's some of the early things that you would tell a young artist?
So, okay, in order to, before you come on the PCM though, you would have need to have been in the studio. Like you would need something recorded,
Okay.
cause I need to hear it.
Right.
And
Like a
then,
demo.
yeah,
Okay.
I need to hear as much of your music as possible, cause I need to see how it meshes with what I already.
But what if
have
I'm a
going on.
Tyrese type of guy that I'm singing on the back of the bus and I just ain't got it like that. I don't have the funds to make it to the studio, but I'm super talented. What do you recommend?
So I would recommend then maybe connecting you with somebody who can kind of like lead you in the right direction. As far as like getting you started with, okay, with your fun thing, or, cause honestly, studio time is not that expensive. You can get an hour for $25,
True,
depending on where you go, who you work with.
true.
So, you gotta be able to have some reason. Now, I would recommend that to start building up some income, to start putting towards your, campaign. I have met artists that was really, really, you know, real raw. Like Shy was kind of raw. Like I don't know if she had a whole lot of stuff recorded, but the two songs I heard recorded sold me. Cause you can hear talent. You know what I'm saying?
So what, like you just said, sold you. What is that like? What is that for you?
For me,
The
not like
whole,
it,
the
yeah.
whole look, the everything.
Cause like every manager gonna be different. So I like to know. For me, I like to know if you can write or not.
Right.
Because all my artists write. All of them write their own music.
Okay.
So that's important that you know how to write. Two, I listen to like what type of music you into. Chris is a trap artist. Adrian is more conscientious. Q gonna give you more Wiz Khalifa. He's more of a stoner. So with Dartez, he gonna give you a little bit of both. He can sing. So
that
I really look at your
gives
talent.
you the opportunity as a manager to sell. Right.
Right, exactly. That's ultimately the goal. The goal is not for them to be up under PCM for forever.
Right.
The goal is, which is gonna happen for all of them, but the goal is to get them off with a bigger label. Somebody that can really financially push what it is that they're trying to do. Now, each one of them have different goals. Like all of them don't want to be big mainstream. Like Adrian goal is completely different than Chris goal. So as a manager, it's important for me to know their goals.
That they reach their goals.
And so we meet every week. I meet with them.
So
every week.
what was your initial goal? Because like I said, like music, I didn't hear it in your, you know what I mean?
So that's a good question, because I think a lot of people probably have wanted to ask me that and have asked like, what do you get out the deal? Like
Right.
what comes in it for you? In the beginning, I really didn't know. I looked at it like, well, somebody pointed out something to me. I just looked at it honestly. When I first was working with Chris, I saw him as a client. I saw that as life coaching.
So it was like,
Because I'm a certified life coach too.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
I saw myself helping, because see, I already knew Chris when I was working at Miller Mott. He was one of my students. So I kind of saw it as like me just working with one of my former students.
Right.
Like at that time, he was raw, so we were just really getting him together. Like Chris had music, but he didn't have like just that structure. So it wasn't until he came to me, because when I first signed Chris, PCM still wasn't thought of.
Right.
We wasn't a name then.
Right.
It wasn't until probably right before we got Q, maybe. And Chris was like, yeah. Chris was like, y'all we got to get a name, because we got to probably get some shirts and stuff like that, because we could see it growing like quick, like fast. So when Q actually talked to me over at your spot. I can't think of what was going on that night, because I think Guru was there and everything. And he pulled me to the side. He said, "T, let's talk about you managing me." And I was like, well, okay then. So we
First
met up
Friday.
here. Yeah, we met up. We met up over here. Him and Chris were already cool, so that worked out.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. Now what I liked about Q is that it's nobody like you.
Right.
It's not a GQ Smooth and Macon.
Absolutely.
You know, so he was just very different, and I look for that too.
Mhm.
And he write his own music, and his music was so different. And then we just kind of like PCM. I started researching and seeing was there any other platinum crown managements out there. I'm in the process now of getting a trademark.
Gotcha.
So you know, that'll be our official logo. But it's not out there nowhere. Paperwork pending for that, and then it started taking off. Like people started coming, calling, asking, inboxing. So
And you know, you constantly on the promo, like you run it like a business, and that's one thing that I do like about PCM. And from what I've seen from the beginning up until now, just the growth and the togetherness. Like they just did the interview with Derek.
right,
They sounded like a band. Like they,
Yeah.
you know, how does the
One band, one
one
sound.
band,
One band, one sound.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I seen, and that's
That
what's
brought
up,
the
and that's what
camaraderie.
Macon needs. That
Yeah.
that camaraderie,
That
that,
camaraderie.
that unity.
Yeah, and so somebody said to me, because even after paying, we think about paying impression with one of y'all DJ, and then when I ran it back, like you got to think about like all the different side of towns that was in here, from the east, west, south side, like north side, like people.
Is that the goal? To create unity and
Well, what I was going to say, what was brought to me was like, you know, Tiffany, I really should have been applying for funding. Because he was like, what you're doing is crime prevention. He was like, you've done this stuff and nothing has ever happened.
Right.
I was like, no, we done had a good time. Everybody fellowship, everybody clap it up, support each other.
Well, everything that you're doing is crime prevention, because it's giving somebody an opportunity to do something.
Do something else, and their outlet is music.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So
That's what
funding
I got
for
out
the
of it.
studio, the just everything that you have going on in itself should have funding for what you're trying to do.
And so what really, to answer your other question, when you was like, what I get out of it, it brought a lot of foot traffic through here too. Like it increased my business because I started getting connected with so many artists through them who I didn't even know, but they would just come and rent the building out, album release parties, signing parties, whatever.
And all of that is business.
All of his business, you know, business that Jacole's needed.
Right.
So that's what I got out of it, and I built so many more connections, and like now I know, like I said, I know so many people now. It's crazy how many people I know, how many DJs I know now, engineers, producers. I done met people in Atlanta that do music, so it grew my network as well. So that's what I got out of it. Like people probably like, how much you get paid? Does she get paid? Stuff like that. It's so much more I'm getting out of it. Like it really benefited me. And then I have I don't know, I believe in winning. And so I feel like they challenged me to make them better, and they challenged me to be successful. So until I see the success I want from one of them, I'm gonna keep going. Yeah.
Keep going. With that being said, we're gonna cut to a little break and come right back.
UGSB Radio, the home of the indie artists. When you want to listen, you can go and download the Radio King app and search UGSB Radio, or search radioking.com/radio/UGSB-radio1. That was a lot to say. Just go get the app. The Underground Sound Broadcast Radio, the home of the indie artists. We also have slots, packages, and programs to fit the needs for small businesses and nonprofits that are reaching for the community. UGSB Radio, the home of the independent.
Okay, we back from break. We got Queen Midas back in the building.
Yeah, that's me.
So, let's talk Cherry Blossom. How was that experience?
Oh man, Cherry Blossom. Did you see the show?
I haven't.
You haven't seen the show?
I haven't.
Come on, Carl.
I gotta do better.
Man, I'm gonna have to text you the video. You know, I had a highlight video made. Shout out to LeJap Photography.
No. Excuse me. Yes, I've seen that.
You
But I'm
seen
talking
it.
about.
You
I
didn't see
seen
it
the
live.
Right, I didn't see
You
it
want that live?
right.
Yeah. Man, Cherry Blossom, I was like a proud mom in the audience, like, because Chris was anxious about the show. Adrian, not so much.
Well,
Chris
let's
was a
go
little-
back. Let's go
Chris
back
was a little
because
anxious.
we have to highlight this part because I remember when I first seen the post and I looked at Derek, I was like, how she pulled that off?
That's what everybody.
How she pulled that off? So let's talk about that part first and foremost. Unless you
You
don't
know
wanna.
what? That's so crazy because I had people hit me up left and right. I was like, was that like, not in an arrogant way,
That was a
but
chess move.
then when I
That
was
a
like,
big
was
move.
this something that has been kind of difficult, to
Yes.
get at? Like, okay.
Yes.
But what I respected though was the history of it because I'm a Macon night and I have always been Cherry Blossom.
Right.
Every year. Like I'm faithful to going to Cherry Blossom even as an adult. So, okay, I'm gonna tell you straight up what happened. Somebody mentioned to me, it might have been either Mr. Ficklin or Mr. Hammersham. I think Mr. Ficklin had said something about doing the Cherry Blossom show. And I was like, you know what, they do be having performances or whatever, right? So, cool. I started kind of like asking around, but I wasn't getting nowhere, right? So what I did was just research. I got online. I was looking at the schedule of events. They kind of already had stuff lined up, but then what I did was went on the tab and looked at like who was in control of everything, like the committee.
See, it take a woman. We ain't gonna do that.
I kind of was looking at who I was. So you had like your director of events. You had like a person that was like director of operations. So I instantly started calling and started emailing them. And so the lady who was over events, Miss Katie, she was like, well, how we do that for the community stage because who was here? Arrested Development.
The
community stage. So
they
that's
have a community stage.
the stage where they let local artists perform at.
You knew that.
I didn't know that until her and I talked.
Okay.
But I seen Arrested Development. I said, well, I would like for my artists to open up. She said, no. She said, because we got somebody to open, but we can still put you on the stage. I can give you a time slot. But she said, I got to see them first because they have a committee.
Right. So
she said, well, start sending me stuff. Okay, so what I did was because it had to be clean. And Q was the only one who had edited music. None of Chris stuff was family appropriate. Adrian had some songs that we could slide by, but they had to be cleaned up. So what I did was, we had a couple shows here. I recorded some stuff and I just clipped it in the videos. I just clipped what was clean and and then I sent that to her. And she was sold on it. So that gave them time to clean their musical. So it took about a month. It took like a month of communications with her and I back and forth. And then she emailed me and said, hey Tiffany, the committee agreed. We want to see all three of them perform at Cherry Blossom. Wow.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And that's what happened.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So, show day, or y'all did a whole bunch of rehearsals
Leading
prior
up to it.
that?
Yeah, we did. Cause like I said, Chris was
You
a
put
little.
them through boot camp.
You know what? I wasn't trying to, but I learned a lot about them too. So Chris was real anxious about it. Adrian and Q not so much. Q might have been a little nervous, but I think more so Chris. So we took advantage of
This
stuff.
was Chris' like first big show, wasn't it? Cause I know.
There's a
I
Turtle
know.
was a big show for Chris.
Right,
This was
right.
Cherry Blossom was I think different for Chris because, and that's why I was so proud of him. Chris had to go re-record 2 new songs just to have clean music. So he challenged himself to go and record songs that were completely family friendly. Now he can do those songs at any arena now.
Okay.
So that was hard because he was recording music that he normally wouldn't do, so he had to kind of rechannel himself.
Got to step outside.
Yeah, he did. He did. So
How was that process for him? Was it frustrating? Was he like?
it was frustrating. Chris fought me tooth and nail on that. I almost thought that he wasn't gonna be able to do it because he was trying to slide stuff by. I said no because
Was it the concept or just like the music in general?
no, Cherry Blossom is very strict. It can't even be suggestive. So you can't have any cursing in there, and it can't be suggestive to anything that's derogatory.
So that's why they have the Arrested Development type of artists.
Right, and because you have so many, like if you looked in the audience, it was black people, white people, old people, little kids. Like it had to be completely family friendly music.
Right.
And Chris just isn't that type of artist, but what he did when he made All Eyes on Me, that's the song really about, some of his pain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he did well with putting that into place. Leading up to that, we rehearsed here with just a speaker and a microphone, karaoke machine. But then I had heard about the piano bar downtown Macon. You know, they're under like new management. So somehow or another, the manager and I started talking, and he said, "Well, yeah, bring you guys on down." I said, "You sure?" Because you know the piano bar, you already know what they were doing.
Right.
It was a little different. I said, "Well, I don't mind bringing them." So I said, "Well, look, y'all, this was Thursday night. The Cherry Blossom was Friday, so we all went down there, and we just used, because they would have open mic at the piano bar, so they just used that as like a practice for them to run through the songs that they were going to perform." And that was perfect, because then we could see
the reaction.
We see the reaction. They were actually on the stage. It's a lot different than being in here. And it was important for them to rehearse. Like Adrian, he cleaned up Mercy. But like if you say, if in one of my songs I say the word nigga, what do I change that to? So they had to rehearse that. They had to get new verbiage.
Right.
For like something they had been saying, they had completely practiced saying it a different way.
Which is good.
Which
is good.
They found another terminology for it.
Okay.
So they're growing as artists.
Right. Right. And how seeing the growth, like what? Give me some examples of growth that you have seen. I know, of course, vocabulary.
You know what? I done got emotional so many times. Like I could look at a video from them performing that first Friday when they did Derrick James' 1-year anniversary, Pandemic Pressure. Like it's so different. Like their music, how they move, they shows. You can like if you don't follow them, you can really see even with their confidence level, like how confident they are now in their music, how they grip the microphone is different now. We still working on that.
Now I want to talk about this as well because you know I seen it on the post and it made perfect sense to me. You was talking about transportation to some of these events that's going on throughout the city.
Right.
How do you think we could go about making that happen?
I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go to a town hall meeting. Probably get kicked out of it.
It seems like that's what
Probably
we
get kicked
have
out
to
of
do. We have to make some noise.
Shout out to one of my teachers. I ain't gonna call his name, but he used to get kicked out of town hall meetings. I learn from the biggest.
Do they work? I've never been.
Get kicked out of them?
Do they work?
I think it do. I think it
effective?
Yeah, I think that it may take a little time. If what you're saying is expressed properly. Everything go back to what you just said though, like how I went about Cherry Blossom. Everything is strategy, you know. I can't just go without, we need vans.
Right.
I gotta put it, I gotta propose it. And then I gotta make it, it's always gotta be feasible for everybody. So what would happen is we would need to show why do we need these vans, right? Why can't parents drop their kids off for summer camp?
Right.
So we gotta show why.
You gotta show the problem and then show the solution.
Show the solution. People come with problems. That ain't, I'm solution driven. Like people have a problem, okay, now what? How can we fix it?
Absolutely.
So you got to be able to drop a problem on them and then say, well, look, the reason why we need vans is because y'all having a chess tournament over at such and such, Bloomfield Gilda, and my little cousin stay in Bloomfield, but he don't have nobody to bring him. I want him to be there. Or they have some at Frank Johnson, but they stay over in Fairview. You know, how do we make sure that, and not that their parents being lazy, parents are at work. Yeah, so how do we make sure that these kids are in places that they're safe, and we're getting them there safely and getting them back home?
Majority of these, you know, are single parents, whether it's male or female.
Male or female, right? And they need transportation, and then that way, what that is, that's crime prevention.
Absolutely.
Shakita a genius.
Absolutely.
She doing programs on a Saturday night. Most of the stuff we done seen happen, when is it happening? On the weekend. So if you can get them somewhere on a Saturday night, and we just having a good time, PCM, we're gonna go rock out with them this Saturday, because we're always about community first.
Mhm.
But I think that first thing we need to do is put the problem and solution on paper. And then you got to look at costs. Like, what is it gonna cost them to get these vans, and who would be responsible? So in my post, I put donate them to the community leaders. So leaders.
Mhm.
So we would have to designate. Okay, who?
That's what I'm trying to look, because when you look at places like Ingleside, right?
Ingleside Church or
No,
Ingleside?
Ingleside, the side of town.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the whole committee that built that.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we need to do that for our neighborhood. Bloomfield need one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Unionville. You know, other places, other sides of towns that need that representation. Like you said, a leader in that area. If we could have neighborhood association, that's what I really try to do with the newsletter. You know, have it spread on other side of town, but where it's represented at, that's where that leader would be at, or whatever that person may be for that.
Right.
But yeah, definitely, we definitely need that.
Yeah, I think that would be beneficial. I mean, and I don't think it'll be hard. Like, I think sometimes people make stuff challenging. I know you might run into liability issues, but it's liability when they go to the rate center. It's liabilities when we take them anywhere. They need to sign a waiver, just saying, hey, it's okay for Derek or Carl to
We,
keep my
we,
son.
we
or
just,
whatever they
I
can.
feel as a community, we just need representation.
We need representation.
Better representation. You don't need to be coming by yourself. I don't need to be coming by myself. We need to be coming as a committee. And this probably be the third episode I talk about this song, but when I went to go see Ben Carson, it was a room that was put together full of doctors, lawyers, professionals, politicians. Where's our room that looks like that? And you know, a lot of us in, would you say hip hop is running the world?
I wouldn't say hip hop run the world. I would say black culture has highly influenced the things of the world. So not just hip hop, but
Okay.
I just think
But
all
I
the
feel like
stuff we
hip
do
hop.
as a
I feel
whole.
like hip hop is touching everything right now. Like even this conversation, it has that hip hop in it. You know, because me and you both dwell in those realms. But at the end of the day, it's all business, and it all relates back to culture. But I say that to say we have a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Now it's time for the entrepreneurs to become bosses, to really put our people in place. And what I mean by in place is I could provide you a job. If I'm a boss, I could provide you a job. I can employ 10 people, and I can make sure 10 people's families are straight. And then they could grow and do the same thing off of the capital that I created or that we created. You get what I'm saying? That's, to me, the type of time we need to be on, because this is what they're doing.
Right.
And they have a camaraderie in doing it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna make sure Tiffany's restaurant, daycare, whatever it is successful. We're not really doing that.
I don't disagree with that. And like I said earlier, I don't know why it's like that though. Like, I don't know why we, will support each other, but why we don't have, like, I guess that full loud community support. I don't know. Like, I've thought about it over and over. I know one thing that I do know is that entrepreneurship is really new to us. So I think we're getting, when I say new, I mean after everything we had was burned down and we had to start over. Like 2020 brought on a new set of entrepreneurs, right? The pandemic did. Because now we had some extra funding. Now you done messed up. You gave me money. You gave money to a business minded.
Right.
It was so many people that had ideas, and all they needed was that stimulus. So now we're brand new as entrepreneurs, because you gotta think about it. Asians been running their nail shops.
It's funny you say that, right? Because like I just said, hip hop is running the world, and I'm a historian on hip hop, so it was a blackout in New York City in '77, and this is where a lot of hip hop got started. This is where they broke into stores and got speakers, studio equipment, and this is where it really just happened, the business of it. And look at now, right? Like you just said, we out of the pandemic. A lot of people got blessed with funds and started doing things. Okay, now it's time to see where the true boss is at. That could really put a person in a position like what you're doing. You're walking somebody into a door that's going to be a big door. That's you walking. You're really your duty is to walk this person into a distribution deal. To me, that's one of the best platforms to be on, right? But how do you go about doing that? You need an audience. You need support. You need
Right. That's
But
true.
it's like we're in a world of a million yous and a million me's. Like everybody's trying to do the same thing.
And I remember,
But how can we coexist?
I remember, I ain't gonna say her name, but I remember something somebody said about bringing businesses together because if all of us, like, why me and Derek, or why Derek and I both need to be, right?
I think we talked
Remember
about
when
that.
all of us
Yeah,
was trying to
right.
find a spot? Like, that's what I see gotta happen.
Absolutely.
That's what's gonna have to happen.
Like what they did in Stone Mountain with the Black Wall Street.
Right.
Have you been there?
I haven't.
It's well put together, but it's not as complex as we think it is or we making it. It's basically the same thing that's on Eisenhower. Well furnished, well dressed up, designed, of course, the history and the authenticity of it is the African Museum. I think that's the icing on the cake of the cake. As soon as you walk in, it's an African museum from Africans that actually have been to Africa, and you actually see the garments, and it brings you into that whole village off the rip. But like I said, it's nothing more than a group of individuals who all working together, but they all have different things going on. Like you have your cosmetics, you have your electronics, you have your fashion. Of course, you have your different retail. Marijuana is a business now, so that's in there.
Yeah, I mean, we had that in Macon though,
Exactly.
Greenwood Bottle. I say give maybe like another year or two, if we buy more properties, then we can do exactly that in that area. That's the camaraderie. If we all get behind whoever the person is that's already got it started, then we just get behind that person, and support that particular area or what it is he's trying to do.
My thing here is, it's like,
But Macon's tricky though. Making tricky. I'm gonna tell you why it's tricky because, okay, I can do that, but then I get a better offer to come downtown Macon, right? Because you give me more money, you give me grant money. So now I'm not having to spend my money. You gotta give me money to come and set up downtown Macon. So now we in a split. So we seeing some of our businesses migrate down there
Right.
because they're financially being helped out.
I say we have to be smarter than that because we all done fell for that already. You know what I mean? And we already been a part of that system. We smarter than that now. So let's capitalize on both. Like I was saying to Derek, like I have to support him the same way I want him to support me. Meaning, of course, I'm not going to try to line my. If I know you have something on the 29th, I'm not going to try to do nothing on the 29th.
Right.
But we have to understand that, okay, Tiffany got something on the 29th, I'm going to go support that.
Right.
But I might have something on the 1st. Tiffany needs to support that. You get what I'm saying? That, to me, that type of, once we get that going, then we could actually grow.
Yeah, and I think the only way we'll be able to get that done is creating like somewhere where, cause we have so many groups too though. We got so many Facebook group we talk in, but
Yeah,
you know,
I say that all the time. Macon
Mhm.
is a world of many worlds.
it really is very multidimensional, very
Which is a
multidimensional.
good thing if you could cater to all of them. If you could be the guy that, or the female that's could cater to all of these worlds, you got it. But that's what making is. We have to realize that. You know, a lot of people just think making is black and white, and it's way bigger than that.
It is. It's a lot of moving parts, and it's a lot to unpack and make. It's a lot. So I'm only saying the part about the downtown thing, 'cause I know every black business downtown they get funding, but it can be tricky if I have to make a choice between coming over here where I'm at or going somewhere where I get offered, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more privilege or financial resources. So now, you know, we kind of splitting up everybody, but I do think if one day, like I said, whether it's Greenwood Bottom or wherever it's at, it'd be great if we could team up and put all our businesses in one big plaza. Like if we could buy this plaza maybe, or like how we were gonna do, start small, just buy one big spot and then start buying the other properties in that particular neighborhood. It don't have to be a plaza, you know.
Let me ask you this: what about blight? Like, would you?
Black?
Yeah, blight, like the blighted houses.
Oh, okay, like the
up-
ones that's,
that's
yeah.
up for auction for like 2,500 or whatever like that. Would you get a couple of those and turn them into?
I have thought of that. I went to an auction one day because it was a property on Duncan I wanted, and that property sold for 13,000. So I have thought about like if I bought like one of those houses, what would I do with it? I guess if I had the funding and someone gave me $12,000, just say, hey, go get a couple of properties, and maybe I'm not against it. I would just kind of need to have a plan about what I'm gonna do with it because, you know, what I do here, I need the space to.
I would say
do
the
this.
land, because really like we could get that, knock it down, and put a shipping container on it or a couple of shipping containers, and it could turn into something totally different. You know what I'm saying? I just think the initial start or initial movement on something of that magnitude is needed.
We got a couple people making those moves, so it's people making
Indeed.
this, yeah.
Indeed, it is.
It's some people that's kind of like stepping out there or whatever. I definitely have thought about it, but I had some challenges here, you know, like with what you were saying, like initially, like the support thing was kind of like a challenge. So as I take the next 6 months and kind of recenter, I just been thinking about like what I want to do exactly. You know what I'm saying?
So what's in the future for PCM?
So PCM gonna continue to thrive. Like we got some things that we're working on now, and we're growing definitely. And then I've lined up another place that they can go once the Jaco's closed. This shout out to Brandon Lamar at Party Pack on Napier Avenue. He has a new smoke shop and it's real nice.
Right there by online, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's already
It
gave me
looks like
go
it's
ahead.
a lounge, right?
Yeah, it is. Like one side of it is like you make your purchases of whatever like products, and the other side of it is like you can smoke in there, but he got like TVs. And
It's real
it's
nice
dope.
in
Yeah,
there. I
it
drove by,
is.
yeah. I ain't go inside, but yeah.
So he's already said like
It's
they
black
can do.
owned?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, Brandon is African American. I think he's from, don't get me wrong, Kentucky or Alabama, I believe. But he got a couple of other spots, I think, and we went in there one day and performed like over the grand opening.
Okay.
420, we performed, and he was like, yeah, y'all want to do shows, let me know, you know, because that's helping him out. That's bringing in foot traffic, yeah, so that everybody wins.
That's gotta be the model. Everybody
Everybody
wins.
wins.
Everybody wins.
So,
To me, that's business.
yeah, that's business, yeah, because he's gonna get business, because we're gonna buy stuff, we're gonna buy a hookah, we're gonna buy something, people gonna come to see the artist.
As long as everybody benefits, it's good.
Everybody
business.
benefits, yeah.
Everybody benefits.
So
With
PCM
that
will
being
be
said,
good, yeah.
With that
Oh, no.
being said, I was gonna say, where can they find you at? On
Working and
Facebook,
hard.
Twitter,
I'm
Instagram.
always on Facebook. So on Facebook, I am Tiffany Tillman,
Mhm.
first name, last name. They can follow the Platinum Crown Management page on Facebook as well. You want to follow the artists. You can also follow Jacole's Life Coaching and Resource Center. Jacole is spelled Jacole. You can follow me on Instagram. I am TIP_D_Titan. TITAN, Tip the Titan. And then what else I got? That's it. I just got Facebook and IG. I don't do Twitter.
Got you.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
where you
Platinum Crown Management on IG. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Platinum Crown Management on IG. Y'all check them out, man. This been a good one. It's been insightful. Y'all heard the jewels. Peace.